This is Voice of Korea.
This is Voice of Korea.
This is Voice of Korea.
This is Voice of Korea. Dear listeners, now we start the English language service of Voice of Korea from Pyongyang, the capital of the Democratic People's Republic of Korea.
Now here's Mixed Chorus, Song of General Kim Il-sung. here's Mail Cars, Song of General Kim Jong-il.
You are listening to VOK, Voice of Korea, News Now. The respected Kim Jong-un, General Secretary of the Workers' Party of Korea and President of the State Affairs of the Democratic People's Republic of Korea, made a historic policy speech on the direction of the immediate struggle for new development of socialist construction at the second-day sitting of the 5th session of the 14th Supreme People's Assembly of the DPRK on September the 29th. In the speech, he congratulated the deputies who took part in the meeting of the highest organ of state power of the dignified DPRK amid the expectation of tens of millions of people waging an indefatigable labor struggle toward a new great victory with a firm faith in socialism and iron will, and clarified the administrative policies of the DPRK government to powerfully promote the new development of socialist construction in line with the rapidly changing subjective and objective situations. He said the construction of socialism of Korean style, which has victoriously advanced with the great Kim Il-sungism, Kim Jong-ilism as a guideline, has entered a stage of epochal development of fully applying our state first principle on the occasion of the 8th Congress of the Workers' Party of Korea, and reviewed and analyzed the affirmative changes in all sectors, including politics, economy, culture, national defense, and external relations. He stated that, on the whole, it can be proudly said that socialism of Korean style is vigorously advancing along the orbit of its development with fresher vigor, relying on our own force that is steadily strengthened. In the policy speech, Kim Jong-un put forward specific policy tasks facing the DPRK government at present. He said an important task the DPRK government should consistently hold fast to is to keep directing great efforts to strengthening the political and ideological might of socialism of Korean style. He said our political and ideological might, with the single-minded unity of the party and people as the core, is an irresistible force peculiar to Juche Korea and a decisive factor promoting the new development of socialist construction. He touched on more substantially and purposefully doing the work to consolidate the people-first principle as the political climate of our state and as the social customs. Kim Jong-un mentioned in detail the policy tasks to powerfully propel the independent and overall development of the national economy. He referred to firmly maintaining the principle of giving precedence over the development of the overall economy to the development of the metal and chemical industries, the main sectors of production for supplying raw materials to the major fields of the national economy. He said it is necessary to increase the national investment in the electric power and coal industries and directed efforts to strengthening the material and technical foundations and thus fully satisfy not only the present demand but also the future demand of the national economy. He clarified the task to modernize the railway, the pilot of the national economy by and large, and mentioned that the machine building industry and information industry should be developed to play an important role in localizing the equipment and modernizing the national economy. He said the construction sector should complete the construction of dwelling houses in the Songsin and Songhwa areas within this year and start the construction of 10,000 flats at the next stage to build another modern district and street and make a new turning point of the capital city construction while actively introducing fresh architectural form. He also stressed the need to finish at an early date the construction of the Gyeongbok area, which is carried on by the People's Army, and extensively conduct the housing construction in the provinces, cities and counties so that all people can enjoy a civilized life in wonderful houses. He underscored the need to map out a national master plan for land development properly and do the land management such as afforestation and water conservancy with responsibility in the provinces, cities and counties to remove the danger of damage by flood in the main during the 5-year plan period and substantially promote the medium and long-term green growth plan for renovating the ecological environment of the country and raising the level of urban afforestation. Kim Jong-un said that decisively improving the guidance and management of the economic work at present is raised as a pressing task in strengthening the independence of the national economy and displaying its potentiality, and explained in detail the methodological issues arising in the role of the cabinet as control tower for implementing the 5-year plan for national economic development. He said the state guidance over the external economic affairs should be deepened to expand and develop all the trading activities in the direction of decreasing the dependence of the economic sector on imports and strengthening its independence, and scientific proposals should be studied and applied in real earnest to strengthen the executive ability of the national economic guidance organs and ensure the interests of the working people. Kim Jong-un said the most important and vital revolutionary task at present in making the new development of socialist construction is to stabilize and improve the people's living and indicated specific policy issues for it. Saying primary efforts should be concentrated on the agricultural development in order to provide the people with a stable and abundant life, he expressed the firm will and determination of the party to rapidly develop the agricultural production and thus solve the food problem completely in the near future. Kim Jong-un said the animal husbandry sector should pay attention to decisively increasing the number of goat and cattle, doing rabbit breeding extensively as an all-people campaign, extremely lowering the unit feed and improving the veterinary and anti-epidemic work as demanded by the party policy on obtaining meat from grass. He said that it is necessary in particular to do substantial work to implement the new child care policy of the party, treble the nationwide milk production, develop the milk processing technology, and thoroughly ensure the quality of the dairy products. He noted that we should intensify the fruit and vegetable production, build a lot of large-scale vegetable greenhouse farms, and boost the production of industrial crops such as oil-bearing crops and sugar crops so as to make a substantial contribution to the people's living. Kim Jong-un concretely indicated the issue on strengthening state assistance to the agricultural sector, the issue on building up the food administration stations well in cities and counties, and modernizing the grain processing process, and important plans and schemes to make it policy and law to supply cement to the cities and counties unconditionally from the coming year to promote the development of local construction and change the appearance of the socialist rural communities. He mentioned policy tasks to improve the material and cultural life of the people by developing light industry, especially referring to increasing the popular character in the production of consumer goods. He presented it as important tasks facing the light industry sector to improve the quality of consumer goods, increase their varieties, and lower the cost price. Kim Jong-un mentioned the policy tasks on directing efforts to the development of fishing industry. He said the level of civilization of the country is an important criterion estimating the national power and an index showing the prosperity, development and future of the state, and made clear important issues arising in developing all fields of the socialist culture, including science, education and public health. He said the DPRK government, with the mission to lead the destiny and mental and cultural life of the people and the posterity along the correct road with responsibility, ought to develop the literature and arts, the press and the sports, according to the demand and desire of the times, reality and people, and put forward immediate tasks for it. Kim Jong-un also advanced the task to further strengthen the anti-epidemic work the DPRK government should attach greatest importance to and expect perfection at present. He touched on consolidating the armed forces of the DPRK in every way and putting the defense industry on a highly Juche-oriented, modern and scientific footing, and thus hitting the targets of defense building presented at the 8th Party Congress with out-and-out practice. He said it is necessary to strengthen the socialist legal system and further enhance the functional role of the people's power in conformity with the demand of the times, and thus consolidate our political and ideological position and class position in every way. Kim Jong-un reviewed and estimated the present inter-Korean relations and the situation of the Korean peninsula, which are still uneasy and in severe phase of toughness, and clarified the policy toward the South at the present stage. He said that now in South Korea all sorts of military exercises and moves for arms build-up are undisguised under the pretext of containing the DPRK, and dishonest speeches irritating and slandering us continue to be made frequently. He pointed out the attitude of the South Korean authorities, who ignored and neglected the causes of the worsened inter-Korean relations, though they knew them, and do not show any change. Now the inter-Korean relations are at the crossroads of serious choice of whether to remove the present frozen relations and take the road of reconciliation and cooperation, or to keep suffering the pain of division in the vicious cycle of confrontation, he said, and made clear the principal issues arising in resolving the inter-Korean relations fundamentally. He continued, "It is important for the South Korean authorities to change their confrontational and habitual attitude toward the DPRK, approach the inter-Korean relations with the attitude to maintain the stand of national independence, and solve the fundamental issues first in practice, not by word, and seriously approach and honestly implement the inter-Korean declarations. We are watching the United States and South Korea, which are resorting to the excessive arms build-up evoking concern, and conducting military activities of the alliance, destroying the stability and balance around the Korean peninsula, and causing dangers of more complicated clashes between the North and the South. I make clear once again that whether the inter-Korean relations are restored and developed to a new stage, or they will be still in the state of deterioration as now, depends on the attitude of the South Korean authorities. We have no any purpose and reason of provoking South Korea or any idea of hurting it. South Korea should quickly get rid of the wild dream that it must contain the provocation of North Korea and of the serious consciousness of crisis and damage." Kim Jong-un expressed the will to restore again the inter-Korean communication liaison lines, which had been cut off because of the worsened relations from early October 1st, as part of the efforts to realize the expectation and desire of the whole nation, who wants the present tough inter-Korean relations to be rehabilitated as soon as possible and a lasting peace to be settled on the Korean peninsula. He made an analysis of the present international political situation and said the external affairs sectors should more actively cope with the eventful and ever-changing external surroundings. He said, as the past 8-month course after the appearance of the new U.S. administration clearly showed, there is no change in the U.S. military threat to and hostile policy toward us at all, and instead, their expressions and methods get more cunning. Now the United States advocates diplomatic involvement and dialogue without precondition. But it is to all intents and purposes no more than a show to cover up their hostile acts and a prolongation of their hostile policy pursued by the successive U.S. administrations. Kim Jong-un put forward the task for the external affairs sector to make perfect preparations to take tactical measures for thoroughly implementing the strategic plan of the DPRK government toward the United States on the basis of strictly studying and analyzing in the interconnection the present U.S. administration's tendency toward the DPRK, the prospect of the political situation of the United States, and the rapidly changing relations of international forces. He affirmed that the DPRK government will, in the future too, develop the good neighbor relations with all countries of the world which respect the sovereignty of our country and treat us in a friendly way, and discharge its responsibility and role in the struggle to defend peace and stability of the Korean Peninsula. He solemnly expressed the firm will that the Workers' Party of Korea and the DPRK government would be infinitely faithful to the great people and make greatest efforts to discharge their heavy mission and responsibility. And he ardently called for working hard for the prosperity of the great motherland, the DPRK, for the happiness and well-being of our great people, and for the new development of construction of socialism of Korean style under the slogan of the people are God, single-hearted unity, and self-reliance.
Kim Jong-un, General Secretary of the Workers' Party of Korea and President of the State Affairs of the Democratic People's Republic of Korea, sent a congratulatory message to Xi Jinping, General Secretary of the Central Committee of the Communist Party of China and President of the People's Republic of China. The message reads: Beijing, Xi Jinping, General Secretary of the Central Committee of the Communist Party of China, President of the People's Republic of China. Esteemed General Secretary, I, on behalf of the Workers' Party of Korea, the government of the DPRK, and the Korean people, and on my own behalf, extend warm congratulations to you, the Communist Party of China, the government of the People's Republic of China, and the fraternal Chinese people on the occasion of the 72nd founding anniversary of the People's Republic of China. Over the past 72 years since the founding of the People's Republic of China, the Chinese people have achieved great successes in the struggle for shaping the destiny of the nation and for its prosperity, overcoming all sorts of challenges and trials of history under the leadership of the Communist Party of China. They have built a basically rich society in an all-round way and into the historic course to attain the new goal of building a modern socialist country. We, as comrades and friends, are rejoiced over the successes made in socialist China as our own. I believe that the dream of rejuvenation of the Chinese nation will certainly come true thanks to the socialist idea with Chinese characteristics in the new era and the devoted efforts of the Chinese people rallied around the Communist Party of China with the General Secretary at its core. Our party, government and people, will firmly support the just struggle of the Chinese party, government and people to smash the frantic moves of the hostile forces for confrontation with China and defend the sovereignty, right to development and territorial integrity of the country. Today, our two parties and two countries are displaying community unity while strengthening strategic and tactical cooperation in the joint struggle to advance the socialist course and safeguard the regional peace and stability. I'm sure that the traditional relations of friendship and cooperation between the DPRK and China will constantly develop according to the common desire of the two parties and the people of the two countries in the future too. I sincerely wish you good health and greater success in your work, the People's Republic of China prosperity, and the Chinese people happiness and well-being. Kim Jong-un, General Secretary of the Workers' Party of Korea, President of the State Affairs of the DPRK, Pyongyang, October the 1st, Tsuce 110, or 2021.
The Workers' Party of Korea Publishing House brought out Volume 39 of the complete collection of Kim Jong-il's works, a library of the immortal Kim Il-sungism Kim Jong-ilism, which compiles famous works of the great leader Kim Jong-il systematically and comprehensively in a chronological order. The book contains 46 famous works, including historic speeches, talks and letters made public by Kim Jong-il between November 1974 or 1985 and June 1975 or 1986.
The Academy of Defense Science of the DPRK test-fired the newly developed anti-air missile on September the 30th. The test fire was aimed at confirming the general combat function of the missile and practical ability of the launching pad, radar, and combat commanding vehicle. Park Jong-chun, member of the Presidium of the Political Bureau and Secretary of the Central Committee of the Workers' Party of Korea, watched the test firing of the missile together with leading officials in the defense science research field. The Academy of Defense Science announced that remarkable combat function of the latest anti-air missile was confirmed, which drastically increased the fast response, guiding accuracy and target hitting distance of the missile control system by introducing major new technology, including the twin rudder controlling technique and double impasse flight motor. It said the recent test firing is of great practical significance in the prospective research and development of different kinds of anti-air missile systems.
Technical updating is brisk at the Munpyeong smeltery to consolidate the production base. The smeltery accelerates the project for increasing electric furnaces and pushes ahead with the manufacture of efficient electrolyzer. Maintenance workshops numbers 1 and 2 successfully promote the building of a new type closed rotary furnace that can contribute to the environmental protection and greatly increase the productivity. The workers and technicians have built a new manganese sulfate solution manufacturing process at the liquefying workshop and an extracting process that can increase the zinc production by making a new active material with locally available raw materials. The refractory work team has completed a heat insulator production process based on domestic raw materials, thus lowering the cost markedly and raising the output and quality of non-ferrous metals. South Hamgyong Province is directing great efforts to the production of building materials with its locally available raw materials. This year alone, the province has produced more than 3,100 building parts of over 500 cranes, which upgraded technical and economic indices. The sanitary ware, inner and outer wall tiles, and other building parts produced at the rebuilt Songchongang Tile Factory, and the linoleum manufactured at the Hamung Disabled Soldiers Essential Plastic Goods Factory are in great demand at many units for their high antibiosis, tensile strength, and elongation. Popular are the slate roof paints and shuttering made of waste plastics, which were developed by workers and technicians of the Hamung Steelworks and the Hungnam Leather Shoes Factory. Jongpyeong County is producing different kinds of stone-processed goods by exploiting its raw material resources. A number of districts in Hamung City and Dokseong County are producing a lot of building parts with their locally available raw materials, making a contribution to the improvement of the people's living. A greater number of quality consumer goods are produced by different units. The Seongyo Knitwear Factory intensifies economic guidance and improves the technical skills of workers, achieving successes in production. The only souvenir factory under the Guidance Bureau of Public Catering Service is directing efforts to increasing the variety of consumer goods needed for the people's living and improving their quality. The 11th International Legal Forum of the Asia-Pacific region took place through video conferencing on September the 30th. It was attended by delegations and delegates of different countries, including the delegation of the Central Court of the Democratic People's Republic of Korea, headed by President Cha Myung-nam. Congratulatory speeches were made at the forum. The head of the DPRK delegation said in his speech that the countries in the Asia-Pacific region are facing a common task to cope with the worldwide challenges, though they have different history of development and economic conditions. He added that the forum serves as a significant and important occasion in promoting the common legal understanding and practical activities of the countries in the region to achieve lasting prosperity and development. Expressing the expectation that the forum would make a due contribution to consolidating the scientific foundation for righteous and impartial law, he called for strengthening legal cooperation for peace, stability, and prosperity of each country and region, united under the ideals of independence, peace, and friendship. Other speeches were made. A member of the DPRK delegation said the DPRK is laying a legal foundation for the recognition of judgment of foreign courts and the approval and execution of arbitration awards conducive to the judging activities and economic development of the regional countries, protecting the legitimate rights, interests, and business activities of foreign investment enterprises, and actively providing a legal environment favorable for the international economic cooperation. He noted that what is important in the essential issues for ensuring stability of the international economic cooperation is to make joint efforts against the arrogant moves of the United States. He stated that all countries in the region should further strengthen the international cooperation and solidarity for the regional security and economic prosperity in coping with the U.S. reckless hostile moves against the DPRK. The Central Court of the DPRK will in the future too continue to provide an international legal guarantee together with other countries in the region for settling the economic disputes on the principle of respect for sovereignty, equality, and mutual benefits, he said, and stressed that it will constantly develop the relations of legal support and cooperation with those countries desirous of sound economic development of the region. And that's the end of the news, read by Cha Yun-kyung and Ma Kum-song. This is Voice of Korea. We now present the song, Yearning is My Happiness. Picturing him to ourselves, we feel happy. When we see him in dream deep at night, we are pleased all the more. We wonder if he would come this morning, all of a sudden as in dream. Our yearning for him is more ardent. Our minds rush to the road. Marshal Kim Jong-un will come along.
그의 영상 그리며 행복에 설레던 마음 깊은 밤 속에서 배우며 그 기쁨 진정할 수 없네. 이 아침 봄처럼 어시려라 가부진 그리움 속 간절해 마음은 나를 펴마중 가네 원수님 어제 그 길에 우리 찾아오시면 기쁨만 아래이고 싶고 우리 그 자욱을 수놓아 날과 달 꿈결 같이 가네.
Here is trumpet solo, My Blessed Life. Now we present male solo and male chorus, Ode to the Mother Party. This time you will listen to the Korean folk song Moran Here. Now we present light music, songs everywhere in my country.
Dear listeners, with this we conclude the English language service of Voice of Korea from the Democratic People's Republic of Korea. Voice of Korea presents its English language service for Southeast Asia between 5 and 6 hours UTC on 13,650 kHz and 15,105 kHz, and between 10 and 11 hours UTC on 11,735 kHz and 13,650 kHz. For Middle East and Northern Africa between 16 and 17 hours UTC on 9,890 kHz and 11,645 kHz, and between 19 and 20 hours UTC on 9,875 kHz and 11,635 kHz. For Southern Africa between 19 and 20 hours UTC on 7,210 kHz and 11,910 kHz. And for Central and South Americas between 4 and 5 hours UTC on 11,735 kHz, 13,760 kHz, and 15,180 kHz, and between 10 and 11 hours UTC on 11,710 kHz and 15,180 kHz. Goodbye, this is Pyongyang.